My name is Charlie Sinclair. I'm 35. 20 years ago, my parents left me at Grand Central Terminal in New York City because I refused to compete in a beauty pageant. I was 15. They didn't lose me. They didn't get separated in a crowd. They looked at me and said, "If you can't represent this family, you don't deserve this family. Find your own way home." Then they drove off. My little sister was in the back seat. I stood there for 9 hours. No phone, no money, no ride back to Connecticut. I didn't go home after that. I changed my name. I built a life that didn't require permission. They didn't know that the girl they abandoned would grow into something they wouldn't recognize. Until this morning. 29 missed calls, 17 voicemails, all from Fairfield, Connecticut. Lily has stage 3 breast cancer, and I'm the only compatible bone marrow donor. So I called back. Not because I missed them, because I wanted the facts and the leverage. But first, you need to understand how we got here. Growing up in Fairfield, Connecticut, the Hartley family looked perfect on paper. My father, Preston Hartley, was on his 3rd startup attempt. CEO, corner office, business cards that said entrepreneur like it was a personality trait. My mother, Vivian, was Miss Connecticut 1982. 21 years later, she still introduced herself that way at the country club. Our house at 42 Brookside Lane was 3,200 square feet of carefully curated perfection. 4 bedrooms, marble countertops, a chandelier in the foyer that cost more than most people's cars. But if you looked closer, you'd see the cracks. My father's 3rd startup was hemorrhaging money. By 2003, he was $340,000 in debt. The kind of debt that makes you desperate to maintain appearances. Because if the neighbors found out, if the country club found out, if anyone found out that Preston Hartley was failing again, well, that simply couldn't happen. So they invested in the one asset that was performing, my little sister, Lily. Lily was 3 years younger than me, blonde, big eyes, the kind of kid who looked good in photographs. And my mother saw opportunity. $1,200 a month for pageant coaching with Mrs. DeMarco. Another $800 for ballet lessons, $200 for piano, spray tans, headshots, custom dresses for each competition. Between 2001 and 2004, Lily won 6 beauty pageants, 6 crowns, 6 trophies displayed in our living room like they were Olympic medals. I was captain of the debate team for 2 consecutive years, honor roll every semester, 1st place in the state creative writing competition in 2003. My father came to 0 of my debates. My mother framed 0 of my certificates. But every single one of Lily's pageant photos, professionally mounted, chronologically arranged, a shrine to the daughter who made them look good. I learned early. My value was measured in how well I supported Lily's shine, not my own. The first real crack came in May 2004. I was 14, finishing my sophomore year. There was a mother-daughter beauty pageant on May 14th, same day as the state debate championship in Hartford. I'd been preparing for that debate for 6 months. My team needed me. I told my mother I wasn't going to the pageant. She stared at me like I'd slapped her. "After everything we've done for you? The least you can do is show up and smile." I have a debate championship that day. Debate won't get you anywhere, Charlotte. Beauty opens doors. I went to the debate anyway. We won. I came home at 7:30 p.m. with a trophy. My mother had locked my bedroom door from the outside. My dinner, a plate of cold spaghetti, was sitting on the floor in the hallway. I ate on the carpet, alone. That was the night I realized. This wasn't about discipline. This was about control. About teaching me that choosing myself had consequences. I just didn't know how far they'd take it. Fast forward to July 2004. I'd just graduated high school. I'd been accepted to the University of Oregon with a full scholarship. $22,000 a year for their creative writing program. It was everything I wanted. 3,000 miles from Fairfield, a future I could choose. My mother had other plans. "You're going to defer for a year," she announced over breakfast one morning. "Lily's competing for Miss Teen Connecticut in August. I need you to compete alongside her. For family bonding. It'll help her chances if she has a sister in the competition." I put down my fork. "I'm not doing that. Charlotte, this isn't a discussion." "You're right, it's not. I already accepted the Oregon scholarship. I'm leaving in September." My father looked up from his laptop. His face went red. "Oregon? You're going to throw away your family for some hippie writing program on the other side of the country?" "It's not throwing away anything, it's my life." He stood up, 6 feet tall, former college linebacker, the kind of presence that filled a room. "Not while you live under my roof, it's not." I should have known right then, the way he said it. "While you live under my roof." Past tense possibility, future threat. But I was 18, legally an adult. I thought that meant something. On July 28, 2004, I confirmed my enrollment at Oregon, signed the papers, sent them back. My mother didn't speak to me for a week. My father called me, the biggest disappointment of my life, 7 times in those 10 days. I counted. Lily cried 4 times, begging me to change my mind. "If you loved me, you'd do this one thing for me." "If you loved me," I told her, "you wouldn't ask." My father announced we were going to Manhattan for a family celebration dinner. Lily had made it to the top 10 for Miss Teen Connecticut. We were going to the Palm on 2nd Avenue to celebrate. I didn't want to go. But Lily looked at me with those big wet eyes and said, "Please, Charlie, just one dinner. Then you can go to Oregon and forget about us if you want." So I went. The Palm, 837 2nd Avenue. We arrived at 7 p.m. white tablecloths, dim lighting, a waiter who called my father sir, in the way that meant he expected a big tip. The bill came to $340. I saw it when my father paid. Cash. Probably the last of his available credit. For 2 hours they talked about Lily, her talent routine, her evening gown, her chances of winning. My father raised his glass of champagne. "To Lily," he said, "our pride and joy, the daughter who makes us proud every single day." He didn't look at me once. We left the restaurant at 9:15 p.m. The drive back to Fairfield was supposed to take an hour and a half, 60 miles north on I-95. But at 9:30 p.m. my father took the exit for Grand Central Terminal. "I need to use the restroom," he said. "Quick stop." We parked on Lexington Avenue. I remember this spot because I stared at the street sign for a long time afterward, trying to make sense of what happened next. My mother turned around in her seat, looked directly at me. "Charlotte, get out. We need to talk." I followed her into Grand Central, through the main entrance at 42nd Street, into Vanderbilt Hall. It was 9:47 p.m. I remember because there's a massive 4-sided clock in the center of the terminal, and I checked it, wondering why we were having a conversation in a train station instead of a parked car. The terminal was busy. August in New York. Tourists, commuters, people rushing to catch the last trains out to the suburbs. My mother stopped in the middle of the hall, turned to face me. "This is your last chance, Charlotte. Compete with your sister in 2 weeks. Or find your own way home." I thought she was being dramatic, testing me, seeing if I'd cave under pressure like I had 100 times before. So I said, "I'll find my way." She didn't blink. Good, because we're done. Then she walked away. Just walked away. Through the crowd, back toward the entrance. I stood there frozen, watching her blonde hair disappear into the stream of people. I ran after her, out to Lexington Avenue. The car was already pulling away from the curb. I saw my father behind the wheel. my mother in the passenger seat, and Lily, in the back, pressed against the window, her hand flat against the glass. Our eyes met for maybe 2 seconds. Then the car turned the corner, and they were gone. I stood on the sidewalk for 15 minutes, thinking they'd come back, thinking this was a scare tactic, a lesson. Tough love taken too far, but temporary. They'd circle the block, pull up. My mother would roll down the window and say something cutting about how I needed to learn gratitude. And I'd get in the car, silent and humiliated, and we'd drive home. But at 10:02 p.m., I was still standing there. I went back inside, checked my pockets. $12, 2 5s and 2 1s. That's what I had. No phone. My father had confiscated it 2 weeks earlier during one of our arguments. Until you learn to be part of this family. No wallet. I'd left it at home because this was supposed to be a quick dinner. No keys. Why would I need keys? We were coming back together. I found a payphone near the Oyster Bar. 50 cents a call. I called home. It rang 6 times. No answer. I called again. No answer. A third time. No answer. At 11 p.m., I tried one more time. Lily picked up. "Charlie?" Her voice was small, scared. "Lily, please, I need to talk to... Mom said I can't talk to you." She was crying. "I'm sorry, I can't." Click. I hung up the phone, stared at it. That's when I knew. This wasn't a lesson. This was real. Grand Central Terminal closes at 2 a.m., opens again at 5:30 a.m. At midnight, a security guard told me I had to leave. "Do you have somewhere to go, miss?" "Yeah," I lied. "I'm just waiting for my train." But there was no train, and when 2 a.m. came, I had to go outside. It was August, but New York at night is colder than you'd think. 65 degrees. I was wearing a thin cardigan over a sundress. The kind of outfit you wear to a nice dinner when you think you're going home after. I walked around the block, sat on the steps of the New York Public Library for a while. A police car rolled by at 3 a.m., slowed down, kept going. At 5:30 a.m., the terminal reopened. I went back inside, bought a bagel and a bottle of water with my last $7, sat in the waiting area. I'd been awake for 22 hours. People streamed past me, hundreds of them, thousands, all with somewhere to go, someone waiting for them. I was 15 years old, alone in the largest train station in North America, and I didn't know what to do. At 6:30 a.m., a woman sat down next to me. She was older, late 60s maybe, gray hair pulled back in a bun, wire-rimmed glasses, a canvas tote bag with the words Brooklyn Public Library stamped on the side. She didn't say anything at first, just sat there, watching people pass. Then quietly, "Are you okay, sweetheart?" I don't know why I told her. Maybe because she was the first person in 9 hours to ask. Maybe because I had nothing left to lose. "My parents left me here," I said. My voice cracked. "Last night. They just drove away." She turned to look at me. Really look at me. "How long have you been here?" 9 hours. "And where are your parents now?" "Connecticut, Fairfield." "Do you have a way to get home?" I shook my head. She was quiet for a moment. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out a cell phone, an old flip phone, handed it to me. "Call someone, a relative, a friend, someone who can help you." I stared at the phone. There's no one. "What's your name?" "Charlotte, Charlotte Hartley." "I'm Eleanor Hughes." She stood up. "Come on, we're going to get you something to eat, and then we're going to figure this out." Eleanor took me to a diner on Lexington Avenue, ordered me eggs, toast, orange juice. She didn't ask questions while I ate. Just let me sit there, shaking from exhaustion and adrenaline. When I was done, she made a call. Not to my parents, to the NYPD. Officer Maria Rodriguez arrived at the diner at 8:30 a.m. 12th Precinct. She was maybe 30. Dark hair in a tight bun, kind eyes. She asked me to explain what happened. I did. Start to finish. She wrote everything down. Then she asked, "Do you have any proof they left you intentionally?" "The cameras," I said. "Grand Central has cameras everywhere. Check the footage from last night, 9:47 p.m. You'll see my mother walk away. You'll see me chase her. You'll see them drive off." Rodriguez nodded. "Okay, we'll check." She did. 2 hours later, I was sitting in the precinct. Eleanor was still with me. Refused to leave. Rodriguez came back with a folder. "We pulled the footage. You're right. Clear as day. Your mother left you in Vanderbilt Hall at 9:47 p.m. You followed her outside. The vehicle, a silver Lexus SUV, Connecticut plates, pulled away at 9:52 p.m. There were 3 other people in the car." She looked at me. "We're calling your parents now. They need to come pick you up." "I don't want to go back." "You're 15. Legally, they're your guardians." Eleanor spoke up. "What if they refuse to come?" Rodriguez's jaw tightened. "Then we have a different problem." My parents arrived at the precinct at 2 p.m., 7 hours after Eleanor found me, 16 hours after they left me. My father walked in first. Expensive suit, slicked back hair, the confidence of a man who'd never been held accountable for anything in his life. My mother followed, sunglasses on, even inside. Officer Rodriguez stood up. "Mr. and Mrs. Hartley, we need to talk." They didn't look at me. "Our daughter ran away last night," my father said smoothly. "We've been looking everywhere for her. Thank you for finding her." "She didn't run away," Rodriguez said. "We have footage." My mother's mouth tightened. Rodriguez played the footage on her computer, turned the screen toward them. There I was, standing in Vanderbilt Hall. My mother walking away, me chasing her, the car pulling away. Timestamp, 9:47 p.m. Clear, unmistakable. "That's not what it looks like," my father said. "It looks like you abandoned a minor in a public place." "It was a misunderstanding. She was being difficult. We were trying to teach her." "You don't teach a 15-year-old by leaving her alone in New York City with no phone and no money." My mother finally spoke. Her voice was ice. "Officer, we're her parents. We know what's best for our daughter. This is a family matter." Rodriguez leaned back in her chair. "Actually, Mrs. Hartley, this is a legal matter. Abandonment of a minor is a crime in New York. I could arrest you both right now." Silence. "But," Rodriguez continued, "Charlotte is 18 in 3 years, and she's clearly competent. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to take her home. You're going to treat her with basic human decency. And if I get another call about this family, I'm opening a case with Child Protective Services. Are we clear?" My father's face went red, but he nodded. My mother said nothing. Rodriguez looked at me. "Charlotte, do you want to go home with them?" I wanted to say no, but I was 15. I had no money, no plan, nowhere else to go. So I nodded. Eleanor squeezed my hand, slipped a piece of paper into my palm. "That's my number," she whispered. "If you need anything, you call me." I looked at her. This stranger, this woman who'd sat with me for 9 hours, bought me breakfast, called the police, stayed. "Thank you," I said. She smiled, sad, knowing. "You're going to be okay, sweetheart. I promise." The drive back to Fairfield was silent. 60 miles, an hour and a half. My father didn't say a word. My mother stared out the window. I sat in the back seat. Same spot Lily had been in last night. When we got home, I went straight to my room. locked the door, opened the piece of paper Eleanor had given me. It said, Eleanor Hughes, 156 Prospect Place, Brooklyn, 718-55-50198. If they hurt you again, you call me. You hear me? You call. I folded the paper, hid it inside my copy of Jane Eyre, the one book my mother would never open. For the next 3 weeks, my parents and I existed in the same house but lived in different worlds. They didn't apologize. They didn't explain. They acted like nothing had happened. At dinner, my mother would say, "Pass the salt, Charlotte," in the same tone she'd used to ask about the weather. My father buried himself in his failing business. Lily avoided me. Guilt, maybe. Or fear. I'm not sure which. On August 28th, 2 days before I was supposed to leave for Oregon, my mother came into my room. "We've decided," she said. "You can go to Oregon. But if you do, you're on your own. No financial support. No calls home. No coming back for holidays. You'll be choosing to leave this family. Permanently." I looked at her. This woman who'd given birth to me, raised me, fed me, clothed me. This woman who'd left me at a train station to teach me a lesson. "Okay," I said. She blinked, like she'd expected me to cave, to beg, to apologize. "Okay," I repeated. "I'll go." She walked out without another word. 2 days later, I packed everything I owned into 2 suitcases. My father's old startup gave me a ride to the train station, not him, an employee he'd sent. I took the Metro North to Grand Central, stood in the exact spot where my mother had left me. Then I got on a train to Penn Station, and from there, a bus to the airport. I didn't look back. But I didn't go to Oregon, not right away. Because 2 days after I left Fairfield, I called Eleanor. She answered on the first ring. "Eleanor? It's Charlotte, Charlotte Hartley." "Sweetheart, are you okay?" "I left. I'm in New York. I don't know where to go." Silence. Then, "Give me your address. I'm coming to get you." She picked me up from a hostel in Queens, drove me back to Brooklyn, to her apartment at 156 Prospect Place, a 1-bedroom in a brownstone, bookshelves on every wall, the smell of coffee and old paper. "You can stay here," she said, "as long as you need." "I can't pay rent. I didn't ask for rent. I asked if you needed help. Do you?" I nodded. Then it settled. Eleanor Hughes was 68 years old, a retired English teacher, widowed 5 years earlier. No children of her own. She didn't ask why I'd left. She didn't push. She just made up the couch, gave me a blanket, and told me, "Tomorrow, we'll figure out the next step." That next step was enrolling in Brooklyn Tech High School for my senior year. Eleanor paid the enrollment fees, bought my textbooks, gave me a Metro card for the subway. I joined the school newspaper, wrote an essay called "The Kids Who Disappear." It was about teenagers who fall through the cracks, the ones whose families forget them. Or worse, remember them, but choose not to care. It was published in the school paper in October 2004. A local reporter saw it, reached out, asked if I wanted to expand it into a longer piece. I did. The article ran in the Brooklyn Daily Eagle in November. Front page of the local section, the headline, "The Girl They Left Behind, a teen's story of survival after family abandonment." I used my real name, Charlotte Hartley, because I wanted them to see it. They did. In March 2005, I received a letter from a law firm in Stamford, Connecticut, Morrison and Chase LLP, on behalf of Preston and Vivian Hartley. Cease and desist. They were threatening to sue me for defamation, for false statements about our family, for damaging their reputation. Eleanor read the letter. Then she made a call to the ACLU. Within a week, I had a lawyer, pro bono. Her name was Rachel Winters, 42, sharp as a knife. She looked at the evidence, police report, Grand Central footage, my written account, and laughed. "They're not going to sue you," she said. "They're bluffing. Because if they do, everything you wrote becomes public record, and they know that." She was right. The Hartleys never filed. But in that moment, I realized something. I couldn't be Charlotte Hartley anymore. That name was theirs. It carried their history, their control. I needed a name that was mine. On February 14th, 2005, Valentine's Day, because I liked the irony, I filed paperwork to legally change my name, from Charlotte Ann Hartley to Charlie Sinclair. Sinclair was Eleanor's middle name, her maiden name. She cried when I told her, "You don't have to do that, sweetheart." "I want to," I said. "You're more family to me than they ever were." The name change was finalized on March 3rd, 2005. Charlotte Hartley died that day, and Charlie Sinclair was born. I graduated from Brooklyn Tech in June 2005, summa cum laude. Eleanor sat in the front row, cried through the whole ceremony. The Hartleys? They didn't even know I'd changed my name. That fall, I deferred my University of Oregon scholarship, not because I didn't want to go, but because I wasn't ready to leave Eleanor. Not yet. Instead, I enrolled at Hunter College, English major, stayed in Brooklyn, worked part-time at a bookstore in Park Slope. For the next 4 years, I built a life. Therapy with Dr. Patricia Wells, a trauma specialist Eleanor connected me with, twice a week for 3 years. Writing, always writing. Essays, short stories, a memoir I started and stopped a dozen times because I wasn't ready to tell the whole truth yet, and Eleanor. Sunday dinners. Long conversations about books and life and what it means to choose your family instead of being born into one. In 2009, I graduated from Hunter. 3.87 GPA. Eleanor was there, front row again. And for the first time in 5 years, I felt like I'd made it. Not in spite of the Hartleys, but because I'd left them behind. In 2011, I moved to Portland, Oregon, the city I was supposed to go to 6 years earlier. I got my teaching credential, started working at Portland High School in 2012, teaching English and creative writing, mostly to kids like me, the ones who didn't fit, the ones whose families didn't see them. I saw them. In 2015, I published my memoir, The Girl They Left Behind. I changed their names, called them the Ashfords instead of the Hartleys, changed Fairfield to Riverside, changed minor details. But the story? That was true. Every word. The book sold 30,000 copies in the first year. Regional bestseller. Readers reached out, told me their stories, thanked me for saying what they couldn't. And then, in March 2016, I got another letter from Morrison and Chase LLP. The Hartleys were suing me. Again. This time for $500,000. Defamation, invasion of privacy, emotional distress. They claimed I'd fabricated the abandonment, exaggerated the abuse, damaged their reputation. I called Eleanor. She was 88 now, slower, but sharp as ever. "Do you have proof?" she asked. "I have everything: police report, footage, your testimony, my therapy records." "Then fight." I did. Rachel Winters took my case again. This time, we crowdfunded my legal fees, raised $28,000 in 2 weeks from readers and survivors who believed me. The case went to court in November 2016. My lawyer submitted 152 pages of evidence, police reports, video footage, depositions. During her deposition, my mother contradicted herself 4 times. "Did you leave Charlotte at Grand Central?" "It was a misunderstanding. The footage shows you walking away." "That's a misunderstanding?" No answer. On November 18th, 2016, the judge dismissed the case. This court finds that Ms. Sinclair's memoir is a truthful account of her lived experience. Case dismissed, with prejudice. The Hartleys were ordered to pay $8,500 in court costs. The media picked it up. CNN, New York Times, Washington Post. My book hit the New York Times bestseller list the following week. Number 7. I didn't send them a thank you card, but I thought about it. For the next 8 years, I heard nothing from them. No calls, no letters, no attempts at contact. I blocked their numbers, their emails, Lily's Instagram. I moved on, built a career, taught hundreds of students, published 2 more books, dated, broke up, dated again. Eleanor passed away in 2022, 90 years old, peacefully, in her sleep. I was with her. She left me her apartment in Brooklyn, her books, a handwritten note that said, "You were the daughter I never had. I'm so proud of you." I scattered her ashes in Prospect Park, and I thought that was the end of the story, that I'd survived, thrived, moved on. Until January 13th, 2025, a Monday morning. I woke up to 29 missed calls, 17 from a number I didn't recognize, Connecticut area code, 8 from another unfamiliar number, 4 from a contact I'd blocked years ago, Vivian Hartley. I stared at my phone, heart pounding. Then I checked my voicemails. The first one was from a man. His voice was older, tired. "Charlie, Charlotte, I don't know what you call yourself now. It's Nathan, your brother. I know we haven't talked in, 20 years, but it's Lily. She's sick. Please call me back." Nathan. I'd blocked him too. The second voicemail was from the same number. "Charlie, it's Nathan again. Lily has cancer. Stage 3. Breast cancer. She's been in treatment for 2 months. It's not working. The doctors say she needs a bone marrow transplant. We tested. I'm not a match. Mom and Dad are too old. You're her only hope. Please, I'm begging you, call me back." I deleted the voicemail. Listened to the third. It was my mother. "Charlotte." Her voice was clipped, cold, like she was calling about a missed dentist appointment. "This is your mother. Lily is very ill. We need you to do the right thing. Call me." The right thing. The right thing. I almost laughed, but I didn't. Because the fourth voicemail was from Lily. Her voice was weak, shaky. "Charlie, it's me. I know I don't deserve to call you. I know I didn't. I should have stopped them. That night, I should have said something. But I was 12, and I was scared. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I'm asking if you'd consider getting tested to see if you're a match. I understand if you say no. I had to ask." She started crying. The voicemail cut off. I sat there for a long time, staring at my phone, thinking about that night. Lily in the back seat, her hand on the window. She was 12, a kid. She didn't drive the car, didn't make the choice. But she watched, and she never called. Not in 20 years. Until now. I thought about Eleanor, what she would say. "You don't owe them anything, but this isn't about them. It's about you, and what you can live with." I thought about my students, the ones I'd spent 12 years teaching to stand up for themselves, to set boundaries, to know their worth. And I thought about the girl I used to be, 15 years old, alone, terrified. If someone had asked her, "Would you help the sister who watched them leave you?" what would she have said? I didn't know. So I called back. Not my mother, not my father. Nathan. He answered on the first ring. "Charlie? What are the facts?" I said. "No emotion, no guilt trips, just the medical facts." He exhaled. Lily was diagnosed with stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma in December. She's been through 6 rounds of chemo. It's not enough. The cancer's aggressive. She needs a bone marrow transplant. Without it, the doctors give her 6 months. Maybe less. Why me? Because you're her sister. Siblings have a 25% chance of being a match. I tested. I'm not. Mom and Dad are in their 60s. High-risk donors. You're the only option left. And if I say no? Silence. Then she dies. And we live with that. And so do you. I closed my eyes. If I agree to test, I said, I need to be clear about something. This doesn't mean reconciliation. This doesn't mean I forgive anyone. This means I'm doing a medical procedure. That's it. Are we clear? Yes. I'll think about it. I hung up. For 3 days, I didn't sleep. I talked to my therapist, Dr. Sarah Lynn. I'd been seeing her for 2 years. Maintenance sessions, once a month. What do you want to do? She asked. I don't know. Let me rephrase. If you say no, and Lily dies, will you regret it? I thought about that. Yes, I said finally. Not because I owe them anything, but because I'd know I let someone die to prove a point, and I don't want to be that person. And if you say yes, then they'll think it means I forgive them, that we're family again. And I don't want that either. So make it clear, Dr. Lynn said. You're not doing this for them. You're doing it for you, because it's the right thing for you. Not because they asked. She was right. On January 17th, I called Nathan back. I'll test, I said. But I have conditions. Anything. I do this on my terms. I fly to Connecticut. I get tested. If I'm a match, I donate. But that's it. No family dinners. No tearful reunions. No, let's put the past behind us. You get my bone marrow, not my forgiveness. Understood? Understood. And one more thing. If anyone, Mom, Dad, anyone, tries to guilt me, manipulate me, or pretend like the past didn't happen, I walk. Immediately. I don't care if Lily's dying. I will leave. Are we clear? Yes. Good. Send me the details. The testing was scheduled for January 20th. Yale New Haven Hospital. I flew into Hartford on the 19th. Rented a car, drove to New Haven. I didn't tell them I was coming early. I checked into a Marriott 2 miles from the hospital. Paid for it myself. $140 a night. Because I didn't want to owe them anything. That night, I sat in my hotel room and wrote. Not for publication. Just for me. I wrote about why I was doing this. Not for Lily. Not really. For the 15-year-old girl who stood in Grand Central Terminal and thought she was going to die alone. I was doing this because I didn't want to be the kind of person who abandoned someone. Even someone who abandoned me. I was doing this because I wanted to be better than them. Not for them. For me. The next morning, I arrived at Yale New Haven Hospital at 7 a.m. Nathan was waiting in the lobby. He looked older. 39 now. Thinning hair. Expensive suit. The same blue eyes as my father. He stood when he saw me. Started to reach for a hug. I stepped back. Let's just get this done, I said. He nodded. Yeah. Okay. The lab was on the 4th floor. A phlebotomist drew 4 vials of blood, HLA typing. It would take 7 to 10 business days to get the results. If you're a match, the tech said, we'll call you. Then we'll schedule the donation. It's an outpatient procedure. You'll be under general anesthesia. We'll extract the bone marrow from your hip. Takes about an hour. Recovery is usually 3 to 5 days. And Lily? She'll receive the transplant about a week later. If all goes well, her body will accept the new marrow and start producing healthy blood cells. It's her best chance. I nodded. The tech labeled the vials. Sent them off. Nathan walked me back to the lobby. Do you want to see her? He asked. Lily, she's upstairs. Room 512. I hesitated. I didn't want to see my parents. But Lily... Is anyone else there? Just her. Mom and Dad went home an hour ago. Okay. Room 512 was in the oncology ward. I knocked. A weak voice said, "Come in." I opened the door. Lily was sitting up in bed. She looked small, thin. Her hair was gone. Chemo. She was wearing a pink beanie. When she saw me, she started crying. "Charlie." I stayed by the door, didn't move closer. "Hi, Lily. You came." I said I would. She wiped her eyes. "I didn't think you'd actually… I mean, after everything." "I didn't come for them," I said. "I came because I needed to know I tried. That's all." She nodded. "I understand." Silence. Then, "I'm sorry. For that night. For not saying anything. For not calling you. For 20 years. I looked at her. This stranger. This woman who used to be my little sister. "You were 12, I said. "You were a kid. I don't blame you for that night. But you weren't 12 for the last 20 years. You could have reached out, you didn't." "I know." Her voice broke. I was scared. Of them. Of what they'd say, I don't know. I was a coward. "Yeah," I said. "You were." She flinched. But I wasn't here to make her feel better. "I got tested this morning," I said. "Results in 7 to 10 days. If I'm a match, I'll donate. But after that, we're done. I'm not interested in rebuilding a relationship. I'm not interested in family therapy or reconciliation or whatever Mom and Dad think this is going to be. I'm doing this because I can live with saving your life. I can't live with watching you die, to prove a point. But that's where it ends. Do you understand?" She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispered. I turned to leave. "Charlie?" I stopped. "I'm proud of you. For what you've built. For who you became. I read your book. All 3 of them." I didn't turn around. "Goodbye, Lily." I walked out. I flew back to Portland that afternoon. Didn't tell my parents I'd been there. Didn't see them. For the next 10 days, I went back to my life. Teaching, grading papers, drinking coffee, pretending I wasn't waiting for a phone call that would change everything. On January 28th, at 2:32 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number, Connecticut area code. I answered. "Ms. Sinclair, this is Dr. Patel from Yale New Haven Hospital. I have your HLA results." I stopped breathing. "You're a 96% match for your sister. That's excellent. Near perfect. We'd like to schedule the donation as soon as possible. Are you available?" I sat down. "Yes," I said. "I'm available." The surgery was scheduled for February 5th. I flew back to Connecticut on February 4th. This time, I told Nathan I was coming. But I didn't stay with them. I checked into the same Marriott. Same room, actually. The next morning, Nathan picked me up at 6:30 a.m. We drove to the hospital in silence. I changed into a gown, got an IV, signed the consent forms. The anesthesiologist explained the procedure. I'd be under general anesthesia. They'd use a needle to extract bone marrow from my hip. About 1.2 liters. It would take an hour, maybe 90 minutes. "You'll be sore for a few days," he said, "but most donors recover quickly. And Lily, she'll receive the transplant next week. If her body accepts it, she has a very good chance of remission." I nodded. They wheeled me into the OR at 7:15 a.m. The last thing I remember is the anesthesiologist saying, "Count backward from 10. I got to 7. I woke up at 10:30 a.m. in the recovery room. My hip hurt, a deep, aching soreness, but I was alive. A nurse came over. "How do you feel?" "Like I just donated bone marrow." She smiled. "You did great. We got everything we needed. 1.2 liters. Dr. Patel is very happy." "When does Lily get it?" "February 12th. 1 week from today. She'll be prepped with high-dose chemo to kill off her remaining marrow. Then we'll infuse yours. If all goes well, her body will start producing healthy cells within 2 to 4 weeks. I closed my eyes. It was done. At 1 p.m., there was a knock on my recovery room door. I looked up. My parents walked in. I hadn't seen them in 20 years. My father looked old. 68 now. Gray hair. Deep lines around his eyes. Still wearing a suit. Still trying to look important. My mother looked different. Blonde hair dyed too yellow. Face tight from what I assumed was Botox. 66, but trying to look 50. They stood at the foot of my bed, staring at me like I was a stranger. I stared back. Charlotte, my father started. Charlie. He blinked. Sorry? My name is Charlie. It has been for 20 years. He cleared his throat. Charlie, we wanted to thank you for what you're doing for Lily. I didn't do it for you. My mother spoke. Her voice was the same, cold, controlled. We understand you're still upset about the past, but maybe this can be a new beginning for us, as a family. I laughed. Actually laughed. A new beginning? I sat up, ignoring the pain in my hip. You left me at a train station when I was 15. You sued me when I told the truth about it. And now you think donating bone marrow means we're family again? We made mistakes, my father said. We were trying to teach you responsibility. You taught me that I couldn't trust the people who were supposed to love me. My mother's face tightened. You're being dramatic. We came back for you. 9 hours later, after the police called you, because you had to. We were trying to do what was best. For who? I said. For me? Or for your image? Because I refused to be part of your perfect family photo op? Silence. My father straightened his tie. We're not going to apologize for the way we raised you. I know, I said, and I'm not asking you to, because it wouldn't matter. You don't get to apologize your way out of 20 years of absence. You don't get to pretend this is some Hallmark reunion. Then what do you want? My mother asked. I want you to leave. Go. They stared at me. I gave Lily my bone marrow. That's what you asked for. That's what you get. But you don't get me. You don't get my forgiveness. You don't get Sunday dinners and phone calls and reconciliation. You abandoned me. I rebuilt without you. And I'm not tearing that down to make you feel better about yourselves. My father's jaw tightened. After everything we did for you, you left me at Grand Central. We gave you a roof over your head, food, education, and then you took it away the second I didn't perform the way you wanted. That's not love. That's control. My mother's voice went sharp. You're still angry, after all these years. No, I said. I'm not angry. I'm just done. There's a difference. I looked at them both. These people who made me, these strangers. I'm not your daughter anymore, I said. I haven't been for a long time. And donating bone marrow doesn't change that. It just means I'm not like you. I don't abandon people, even people who abandoned me. My father opened his mouth. I cut him off. Get out. He closed his mouth. My mother turned, walked out without a word. My father followed. The door closed, and I was alone. I stayed in Connecticut for 3 more days. Not at my parents' house, at the Marriott. Nathan visited once, brought me soup. Didn't stay long. On February 9th, I flew back to Portland. 6 weeks later, I got a text from Nathan. Lily's in remission. The transplant worked. She's going to make it. Thank you. I didn't reply. 3 months after that, I got a letter. From Lily. It was short. Charlie, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I needed to say this. Thank you for saving my life. I know I didn't deserve it. I'm in remission. The doctors say if I stay cancer-free for 5 years, I'm considered cured. I hope you're happy. I hope you have everything you ever wanted. I'm sorry for not being brave enough to be the sister you deserved. Love, Lily. I folded the letter, put it in a drawer, and went back to my life. It's been 6 months since the transplant. Lily's still in remission. My parents haven't tried to contact me. I'm still teaching, still writing. Last week, I signed a deal for my 4th book. It's called The Girl Who Chose Herself. It's about boundaries, about healing without forgiveness, about the difference between family and people who share your blood. It's about knowing that you can save someone's life and still walk away. Because closure isn't about reconciliation, it's about knowing you did the right thing. For you, not for them. For you. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. Donating. Giving Lily a second chance when my parents gave me none. And the answer is no. Because I didn't do it for them. I did it because I wanted to be the kind of person who shows up, who helps, who doesn't abandon people, even when they've been abandoned. I did it because I'm not them. And that's the whole point. They tried to break me. They left me at a train station with no phone, no money, no way home. They thought I'd come crawling back, but I didn't. I found Eleanor. I found myself. I found a life that didn't need their approval. And 20 years later, when they came asking for help, I gave it. Not because I owed them, but because I owe myself. I owe it to the 15-year-old girl who stood in Grand Central and thought she was going to die alone. I owe it to her to prove that she survived, that she's okay, that she built something beautiful out of the wreckage they left behind. So here's what I want you to know. If you've ever been abandoned by the people who were supposed to love you, if you've ever been the scapegoat, the difficult one, the one who didn't fit the family mold, if you've ever had to choose between your family and yourself, and you chose yourself, you did the right thing. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because you share DNA. You don't owe anyone forgiveness just because they're sorry. You don't owe anyone a relationship just because they want one. You get to decide. You get to set the boundaries. You get to choose who gets to be in your life. And if that means walking away from the people who made you, that's okay. Because family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who sees you and chooses you anyway. Eleanor was more of a mother to me than Vivian ever was. My students are more of a family than the Hartleys ever were. And the life I built, on my terms, in my name, is more home than 42 Brookside Lane ever was. So no, I don't regret donating, but I don't regret leaving either, because both of those choices were mine, and for the first time in my life, I got to make them on my terms. Not theirs. Mine. I'm Charlie Sinclair. I'm 35 years old. I'm a high school teacher, an author, a survivor. 20 years ago, my parents left me at a train station, and I never went back. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't need to. I found my way home, just not the one they expected. So let me ask you, have you ever had to set boundaries with family? What did that look like for you? And if you've ever chosen yourself over someone who hurt you, how did you find the strength? I'd love to hear your story, because the truth is, we're not alone in this. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away. And keep walking. Until you find the people who were looking for you all along.